any medical dictionary, below puberty is a child, above puberty is an adult.
So let me ask you this question. When you were 9 years old, would it be okay for that prophet to mount you at 54 years old?
No, because
No,
we
tell me
don't.
why. Tell me why you
I
being...
will tell you why. Because we don't, in Islam, we don't judge by age number. We have better criteria.
I'm
Mental
asking you, when
maturity.
you were 9 years old, would you give yourself up to the prophet when he was 54 years old to mount you?
No, no, not today. Because when I was 9 years old, I was attending school. I wasn't mentally mature.
So you wouldn't provide yourself to your prophet when you were 9 years old?
If it was today, as I was 9 years old, no.
Why not?
Because I know when I was 9 years old, I was attending, I think, elementary school.
Can you tell me? Can you think back of any of your friends that were 9 years old at that time that you would allow the prophet to mount?
No, I don't know any 9-year-old around me that is mentally mature to sign.
Can you point out any 9-year-old in the whole world in 9 billion people that it's okay for a 54-year-old man to mount a 9-year-old girl out of 9 billion people on this planet?
Today, no.
Why not?
Because I know that 9 years old attend school and they're not ready to sign a marriage
they're not ready.
duties. They're not ready
So
mentally
what made
to
Aisha
sign.
at 9 years old ready?
She was able to do chores. She was able to handle finances. She was able to teach Quran. She was not like any 9-year-old of today.
Okay, taking away the mental, like what you're talking about, the mental maturity that you think she was at 9 years old. Physically speaking, a 9-year-old, can you picture a grown or older man, 50-year-old man, like doing that with a 9-year-old child? Like it doesn't matter how mature you think she is, or that she could wash the dishes or clean a house and handle a house.
No, 1400.
To answer your question,
Listen, let me ask you a question. 1400 years ago, if you were living and you had a 9-year-old girl, would you let the prophet mount your 9-year-old girl if he wanted her? 1400 years ago.
I can't testify what there was 14 years ago, but I can testify
I'm
that
saying
100 years ago, not less than 100 years ago, my own grandmother was married at 13
I'm
years
asking
old.
you a very specific question. 1400 years ago, you as a mother, if you had a 9-year-old little girl, would you give her up to the prophet so he can mount her?
Like I said, I cannot testify to that.
Why? Why can you not?
Because I don't know how this era was. I didn't live there. I don't know how people were.
You think her hips changed and her body was that much different 1400 years ago from 9-year-olds today that could handle that, like physical action?
I cannot assume anything. Every scientific study that I read is a sample based on less than 14 years ago. I can't.
So let me get this
testify.
straight. Hold on, let me get this straight. So today I asked you, if you were 9 years old, would you give yourself up to the prophet himself? And you said no. I asked you if there's any 9-year-old girl that was your friends that would be able to marry and let the prophet mount her, and you said no. And then I asked you, out of the 9 billion people in the world, can you pick out one girl that it's okay for a 54-year-old man to mount a 9-year-old girl? And you say no. I asked you if it was 1400 years ago and you were a mother, would you let the prophet mount your 9-year-old little girl? And you said, I don't know, that's a different circumstance. So your scholars plainly says it, that it's for the girls who have not menstruated yet. Literally says it in your tafsirs. The Arabic that JM was showing you, the word right there is not women, it's the young.
Yeah, the young.
Who have not yet menstruated. So how are you defending 65-4 when it is allowing child marriage?
Again, I don't define child by age. I define Aisha by her mental capacity, her physical capacity. No harm in her marriage.
Listen to me.
That's how
if you were Aisha's mother herself, and you were Aisha's mother, she was 9 years old, would you allow Aisha, your daughter, at 9 to be mounted by the prophet?
Like I said, I can't answer that, but her
Why
dad
can you
did
not
allow
answer it?
it. Her dad did allow it.
Why can you not?
So,
Why can
and
you
I
answer it?
believe Abu Bakr, a companion of the Prophet, is able of sound judgment.